Welcome to the first episode of Truth from the Trail. I'm here on the Appalachian Trail in Virginia, just south of the Shenandoah National Park. And I hope to be on the AT for several days and bring you Truth from the Trail from the AT. It'll be the Appalachian Trail, but there'll be different sections that I'll show you each time. This time I put in at Ty River and hiked north. And yesterday was brutal. It was wet, it was cold, it was rocky. And then today is a blue sky day, but still rocky. From rocky up, rocky down, and my feet are a mess. But we are not here today to talk about my feet. We're here to look at God's beautiful creation and to share with you a story from the Bible. I did a lot of thinking about what this first episode would be, what story would be, and I kept coming back to this one. Not sure why, but maybe there's a reason. So let me give you the background very quickly. The background of this story is that Jesus has just begun his public ministry. He's still putting together his team of 12, the disciples, has not gotten them all together yet. And he's been ministering for a while, going from town to town, ministering to people and healing the sick. And he's done this enough to where he's built quite a reputation for himself. Everywhere he went, people just came by the swarms to maybe he would touch them and heal them of whatever was ailing them. And so he gathered quite a crowd. And that's where our story starts, with Jesus in a particular town. And he's ministering. He is in a house. And while he's in this house, he gathers a crowd. There's so many people there. It's just crowded. People can't get in. They can't get out. It is a mob of people. Among those people were some Pharisees and scribes, and they were there to watch Jesus and to hear what he had to say. Well, also in that huge crowd, there was a paralytic man. His friends had brought him there to see Jesus, and when they got there, they couldn't get in. The crowd was so big, and the doorways were jammed, and they couldn't get in. So these friends carried the man on his mat up on the roof, and they scratched their way through the roof, and they lowered the man down right in front of Jesus. And Jesus looked at them, and he said that he noticed their faith. Their faith is what caught his attention. And so he turned to the man and he said, "Your sins are forgiven." Well, when he said that, the Pharisees and the scribes, these self-righteous men, began to talk among themselves. How dare he say that? What gives him the right to say that? That's blasphemy. And so from a distance, Jesus could perceive their thoughts. And he said, why are you so astonished? But so that you'll know that the Son of Man has authority to forgive sins on earth. And he turned to the paralytic guy, still on his mat, and he said, "Get up, take your mat, go home." Well, when he did, immediately the man jumped up, grabbed his mat, and he left. And the people were amazed. They talked among themselves in awe and astonishment because of what they had just noticed and what they had just seen. Our story ends there. It's a really short story, but there are a couple of things, as I told you in our introductory video. The thing we're always going to do is look at a story and then see if we can dig out of that story any life lessons. Not preachy, not any kind of condemnation, but just life lessons that I can apply to my life and you can apply to your life. And as I said before, you might not even believe the Bible, and that's your choice. But every story has a moral and has lessons. And so let's see if we can learn any life lessons from this little short but interesting story. The first thing I noticed is this paralytic man had some really special friends, didn't he? These guys went above and beyond the call of duty. And maybe that's life lesson number one, that godly friends go the distance. Godly friends do whatever it takes. They're willing to get their hands dirty. They go the distance with you, and they stick with you. Now, it would have been real easy, I guess, for them to get there. They're carrying this guy, and they could have said, "Oh, sorry, it's a crowd. We can't get in. We tried. Let's go do something else." No, they could have said, maybe Jesus will come back some other day. We'll check him out next time. They didn't. They did this amazing thing of going up on the roof, and in those days they had a flat roof. It was kind of an upper room up there. Well, they went up there and dug through the roof to lower Jesus down. So life lesson number one I get out of this is that I need those kind of friends in my life. You do too. And maybe you need to be that kind of friend for somebody else. Maybe I need to be that kind of friend for somebody else, willing to go the distance, willing to do whatever it takes to help that person. That's a special friend. The next thing I notice in this story is when they lowered the man down, Jesus didn't immediately say, "What have you done?" or "Why did you do this?" or "You've disrupted my message." The first thing he noticed, he said, noticing their faith, their being the paralytic man and the guys up on the roof, noticing their faith. You want to get God's attention? It's faith. We're all hung up on doing good deeds and living a good life and being morally right and going to church and all that stuff. And none of that's bad. It's all good stuff. But the thing that really grabbed Jesus' attention was their faith. More than anything else we do, if you want to get God's attention, it's faith. It's not good deeds or good works. It's faith. So that's the second life lesson that I need to be very conscious of my relationship with God. It starts with faith, not with good deeds or good works. What else? The friends, the faith. What did Jesus tell the guy? Noticing their faith, he looked at him and he said, "Your sins are forgiven." Well, now, wait a minute. The guy was a paralytic, probably a quadriplegic. He's being lowered down on a cot. He can't do anything. And obviously, he had some physical needs. And what Jesus did was, he met his spiritual need. He took care of the most important thing first. Our spiritual needs are way more important than our physical needs. Another life lesson that I noticed is this back and forth between Jesus and the Pharisees, these self-righteous guys. What was it they said? How dare he do that? How dare he say your sins are forgiven? That's blasphemy. Why would they say it's blasphemy? Well, who can forgive sin? God's the only one that can forgive sin. And so by Jesus telling the paralytic guy that his sins were forgiven, Jesus was claiming to be God. In fact, he said, so that you know that the Son of Man, that was his favorite expression to call himself, so that you'll know that the Son of Man has authority on earth. It's almost like he said, watch this. He was making a statement to the Pharisees and to everybody else that was there, that he was God, not little g God, not like God, not similar to God, not a man with the essence of God. He was God in the flesh, God incarnate. And so he made a statement that day, and he probably put himself on the Pharisees' radar for problems that would come up later on down the road. So we got a godly friend will go the distance. We've got faith is the thing that really gets God's attention. We've got that you address the spiritual before physical or any other kind of needs. Spiritual needs are the most important kind of needs. And Jesus is God. Let's do one more and then we're through. And that is, the story ended with everybody going, whoa, amazement. Everybody was amazed. They were amazed that Jesus could heal the paralytic, but they were also amazed that he had made a statement that he was God and that he could forgive sin. When we're in the presence of God, boy, there ought to be amazement, shouldn't there? We should be amazed all the time at what God can do, has done, and will do. It's a pretty amazing thing to follow Jesus. Well, that's enough for today from Truth from the Trail. As we end, I'll let you know where that story is. You may want to look it up and read it and see what more. Maybe there's some life lessons that you pick up that I didn't even think about. I'd love for you to put them in the comments and let me hear what life lessons you see in this story. And I hope to see you again next time on Truth from the Trail.